Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, October 24th. Prices of BTC currently at 74.59. All right, so let's get to it. We've finally seen the sell-off that we've all been talking about. And this actually, I think, happened pretty much live in my video yesterday. This whole sell-off right here. Or I think yesterday I may have said that bulls pretty much were on their last breath when we were way up here waiting for this dump. And that's exactly what happened, folks. In this month-long consolidation right here that we were in, most people thought that this was going to be a reaccumulation right here, and we were going to just shoot back up. That really wasn't going to be the case, not because I have some crystal ball or anything. It's just how markets work. People have forgotten the basic rationality of how markets function, how technicals work. Clearly, you know, their bias is due to the fact that they're probably overexposed to this asset. They're in some pretty heavy longs, or they're in some spot buys from way up here, and they're now underwater. And they just need price to come back up here to be able to break even, or, you know, appreciate all the way up to 20,000 or 30,000, whatever, you know, ridiculous number that they think price is going to go to in the next few weeks or months, whatever, right? But for the most part, you know, as I've stated in my videos before, way from over here actually, beginning of August, if you watch my two videos, Boiling the Frogs part 1 and part 2, I stated that, you know, I flipped my bias over on this turn right here. Now, I'll be honest, I was bullish all the way till this point because I figured that, okay, here's a first high that's created. The second high is trying to break through that. We're coming back to this level. Third time around, we should be ripping through it. Okay, so till this point right here, I was still under the assumption that we would be continuing up, because by that point, this right here, this structure to me, to this point, looked like a big flag. Okay, but then once this started to roll over like this, I cut, you know, my long trades right here. I started to become a bear. Okay, so it's not that I knew exactly this was going to happen. It's that knowing when to switch your bias from a bull to a bear, and even vice versa, is very important for this market. All right, so let the idiots, you know, talk about how Bitcoin has to go up to 9,000 or 10,000 this week or next week because we're sitting on critical support. Let them keep talking, okay? Because you need a buyer to be a seller, right? And I'm selling right now. Okay, so I'm shorting the market, and I have been, you know, basically on every spike up. I've shorted the market here a little bit. I didn't ride it from here all the way down here. The thing is, I like to, you know, have some swing trades and some day trades. So had the market shorted here, closed here, shorted here, closed some here, shorted here, closed some here, and shorted here, closed some here. And then yesterday, I got into another short once this breakdown happened right here. So I shorted somewhere around like 77.50 and then 76.50. So two different short positions I have. And I'm sitting in pretty decent profit. And I'm looking to hold these either as swings partially, and the other possibly, you know, just like a day trading position, which I might let go in the coming days. So for the most part, you know, most people are telling you again that this was consolidation. It's supposed to lead to you know, more upside because this was reaccumulation or some Wyckoff reaccumulation, but this was Wyckoff distribution. Okay, there's just too much Wyckoff garbage going around, and it's honestly just annoying to talk to people nowadays, just because, you know, everyone just has a bias, right? No one's really looking at the technicals of how markets can move up and down. They just want the market to move up because that's where the fun is. That's where they get to make a lot of money. They don't understand that when a market moves up from, you know, this bottom way down here, okay, when we went from, you know, 3,100 all the way to 13,900, that wasn't enough for them. And now that we've pulled back all the way to 7,500, that's still not enough for them, you know? So they still think that we're gonna somehow get back to 10,000 tomorrow. All right. So anyway, this is all consolidation, and typically this kind of consolidation, and when it's broken to the downside, I expect more expansion to the downside. Okay. So as the old age saying goes, you know, consolidation, and then that leads to expansion, right? So I'm expecting expansion more to the downside. You could see also volume picking up right here, right? These two sorry, these two bearish candles right here had low volume. This one picked up the volume right here. The fact that this range low right here got taken out pretty swiftly with one daily candle, I don't think that this is going to mark the end right here and we're going to shoot back up. Okay. I guess it's possible in some odd way, but I just don't see it. I don't think that, the bulls were willing to give up their position so easily by, basically having this entire area right here that was defended so well for 1 month be liquidated in one candle. And I don't think the bears are going to liquidate all these bulls just for 1 day of selling to only drop the price for, I don't know, $300 lower than it was previously, right? So I think this is really the start of a new cycle that we're, going to basically go off into for the next coming days or coming weeks. And at the very first, target, I expect something in this area right here, this trading range right here. So between 7.2 and down to about 6.6 is really the area that I'm looking forward to. Okay, and more than likely, I think it's going to probably drop somewhere around 6,900, maybe 7,000 in the coming days if all goes well. If we go back to the shorter time frame, so shorter time frame, what we're really looking at is this. Okay, so if we were to say that, all right, if we're short or we're thinking about shorting, right, what we need is this is the high of today's daily candle. Okay, so today's daily candle high is about $7,500. Okay, and this probably is a couple dollars up and down from different exchanges, but that's really it. Okay, so for the most part, you need this area to be defended pretty well. All right, you don't want price to cross above that or close above that on a 1 hour or 4 hour candle. Maybe like a quick wick like this and a swift rejection, I'm fine with. But for the most part, you really don't want price going above that because you need to maintain the posture and the momentum that the bulls, the bears have right now, right? So if we were to sort of draw that kind of parallel channel, or maybe something like this is going on right now, okay? So that's really the parallel channel that we're in right now. So if we break down further down here, oh my God, this is like the ugliest color. I'm gonna take this away real quick. Or I'll just make it lighter. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. So if we assume that this is the parallel channel that BTC is traveling in, I expect, price, let's see, you can see what, up, down, well, I guess down and then up. So I expect price to, come down here around 73.63. The most of the price movement is kind of pivoting between this particular area. Okay, so I'll mark this out. I spoke about this with my Advantage community yesterday, and again, the Advantage community got into a short exactly when I did, around 7,677. Okay, so we're all sitting in very good profit. The gains reviews that you saw earlier were exactly a representation of how we're doing in the community right now. And there are some really great people yesterday who were posting gains of 50K and 100K. Not that I'm ever advising anyone to go that heavy, but people are doing great, and I'm really happy for them because we've been waiting patiently for this thing to break down, and finally did. Got into some shorts, made some money. Now probably make some more money more to the downside because people are still clearly way too bullish. Like, I don't know how to tell them that they're wrong, but I'm fairly certain they're wrong. And if I'm wrong, that's okay too, because at least my risk is protected. But these people on Twitter are just aggressively bullish, and I think they definitely need to be flushed out of the system, because typically markets will bottom when the overall consensus then shifts, right? Meaning that the overall consensus of everyone, whether it's people on Twitter, most analysts, whatever, right? When they all become bearish, more than likely we've probably bottomed. But that's not really the case right now. The case right now is that I would say it's a pretty even split, 50-50. There's a lot of people buying into this zone right here because they think that this is the last stand for the bulls and this is it. We're going to, somehow push up from here all the way to the upside, going back to 8,000 or 9,000 next week or something like that. And though that's possible, but it's unlikely, right? So everyone's kind of like lost their, I don't know, sight of things when it comes to how markets function, because the greed and irrationality has essentially taken over, because they don't really know how to deal with markets that fluctuate up and down. So they're really, honestly, in a grieving process, to be honest. And the first process, I think the first step to that process is honestly denial, right? They're denying the fact that, you know, prices have already gone from 10K or 8K over a month ago and now back to 7.5. And I don't know how to tell them like it's going to go lower, you know? So anyway, going back, see this green candle right here? All right, I want to show you guys this. All right. I'm going to turn off this volume because volume is really not useful right now. So in this green candle right here, this one right here, okay, you can see the high right there, which is around 75.82, okay, and the low right here is around 74.50, okay. Most of the price action since that candle right there has taken place within that, right? You could see right there. We've basically taken most of the price action within that. But notice what's happened over the last, say, 12 hours, okay? Prices have gone like this. And I'm going to focus on the top, you know, the range of this candle for now, okay? All this stuff right here, this is all deviation. Don't worry about this. These are the outliers of the push down movement from the bears trying to force the price down, but the bulls are strong enough for now to hold the price and push it back up into this range, okay? So majority of the price action you can see is taking place within this, right? But notice what's happening. You can see the bears are increasingly pushing their time limit to force price into this lower region. And then every time it comes back up, it climbs to a lower high. So if we were to ignore, say, this bottom part, let's do it like this, okay? I'm going to show y'all something cool. Sometimes you got to go like this, and you ignore the bottom like that, and you say, okay, well, what am I looking at now? I'm looking at this big green candle, and everything, you know, within the body of that green candle is creating lower high, lower high, lower high. So what this implies is that the bearish pressure is taking over. Okay, the bears are trying to force the prices down. Yesterday when I was looking at order flow, okay, there was a lot of buyers right here, right? A lot. I mean, I'm talking about, you know, a good defense wall of maybe $50 million or something, all right? These people clearly do not want their position to be lost because they know, because these are professionals, right? You don't come up with $50 million or, you know, $75 million to move the market a couple inches. You're trying to defend basically the trend of the market in this particular region, all right? So they know that if this is lost, I mean, it's, you know, game over for the 7,000s, all right? And, you know, and that the drop is gonna happen pretty hard and fast, because not only is this region right here being held up by those big professionals, but people from back here, okay, way back here in, I don't know, May or June, this area right here, these are the same people probably defending this price here, and there's also more people who either bought here trying to defend this last stand for the bulls right here, okay? So in this purple box right here, all right, as you can see, we're floating right above the bottom range of that purple box. The bottom range of that purple box is around $7,400. Every wick that bleeds through is bought up and pushed up, right? But it's increasingly becoming weaker, at least, you know, as far as I can see, okay? So if that breaks, I think the bulls know that they're donezo, right? They're done until maybe 6,000 or not 6,000 flat, but like, you know, low 7,000s, maybe high 6,000, which is this trading range that I told you all about. Okay. So for the most part, the bulls have to make a concerted effort to be able to defend this area. And clearly, as per at least the smaller time frames, they're not able to do so. Now, it's not over yet, right? We still have about 14 more hours to go in today's daily candle. So this thing, you know, could easily kind of go off like this and, you know, start moving up and up and up. maybe stop out some shorts up here and then push back down, right? So that's also another possibility where price could, quickly move up and then push back down, stop out the late shorters down here, right? Because I think just like the bulls are sort of aggressively bullish, I think the bears are, sometimes aggressively bearish too. I think there's a lot of people who shorted this. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. I think there's a lot of people who shorted this particular area down here, okay? And they're now kind of underwater, okay? Not so much so, but they will be when prices start moving up here, okay? And, obviously some of them probably have their stops resting above this wick high right here or this wick high right here. That's why I have these two red boxes. So that's probably where a lot of the stops are sitting. So if we push prices up there and we wick up there and push back down, that will have just, essentially stopped out some late shorts. And that's really it, okay? And then we could still push back down. Getting above this area and closing, say, a 4 hour above this, right? And then looking to continue up, then I'm a little worried. Then I'm thinking that, okay, maybe the game plan was to have this be a terminal shakeout, okay? And terminal shakeouts are typically just that, where, price is ranging, shakeout, and then continue back up, okay? But to call it a terminal shakeout, you have to be in at least a somewhat uptrending market, which we're not in, right? I mean, what we've really done is, continue down. I mean, all the way since way back here in June and July. This was a trading range that had been talked about for so many times. And this is the same trading range that happened almost in a smaller fractal-like manner right here. And this break is analogous to this break. So, I think we might break down a bit further, might create another little trading range and then push down again. Okay, not that it has to happen that way, but it's a possibility. All right. So what I'm trying to say is, for the most part, I mean, I really don't see this being the bottom just yet. Sure, we could push up a little bit and then push down. Maybe like what happened over here, like we pushed up, pushed down, and then we pushed up. And I almost think that this fractal right here, this sort of movement, the structure is very analogous to what's happened here. So this candle right here could be this candle, and we may be looking for an up move like this one right here, right? Just flip backwards, and then this is the continuation to the upside, and this would be the continuation to the downside. Again, you don't even have to look at what's happened back there, or compare the structures, but I'm saying that for the most part, I think it's pretty, uncanny that this representation right here is very similar to this one. So I'm just saying that if the fractal is going to play about like that, I wouldn't be surprised, we get more downside, right? Kind of like we did after this structure right here, we pushed up. So why can't, after this structure, we push down? Okay. People love to compare fractals when it's, a bullish bias, but they don't like to see it when it's a bearish bias, right? Okay. Let's see what else we got. Another place price could land in, I guess. I mean, it's probably over here too. Like, we pushed up through this area right here all the way, sliced through the 6,000 area, which was this support all through the 2018 bear market, and didn't even look back. We kind of just like moved straight through it, right? So here's the interesting part. Okay, so if we do something like this right here, if we do that, notice that this candle came to retest that. No one really saw this as a retest of this previous region being broken, but I personally think that this is valid. Okay, so if we stretch that out, right, if we stretch out that red box right there, okay, which is, encompassing all this price action before the breakdown, right? I'll stretch this out a little bit further right there. I think that's a good area right there. So look where that red box is. That's between right now about $6,800, $6,900 down to about $6,100. Okay, before prices, finally like flush down. We can even move this up a little bit like this. Actually, I think that's a little bit more appropriate because this was the key higher low before we sold off. So, you know, the high, or I'm sorry, the low is about 62.25. The high is about 6,800. Okay. So over the next couple days, I think it's possible that we land somewhere in this red block as well. Okay. So I know this is a pretty big range to watch out for, but for the most part, I think it makes things easier when you start understanding that you need to be able to flip your bias from bullish to bearish, at least now. And if you don't want to, that's fine. If you want to keep being a buyer here, that's okay too. You know, I still am going to hold on to my short. Every opportunity that I get, I'll scale in and scale out. Okay, so you know my game plan. All right. Now here's another thing. Okay, so let's see. What was I talking about? Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna go out on this weekly time frame. Okay, so you can see on the weekly chart right here. Okay, this is a pretty big bearish candle. Now people keep saying that, oh, by the end of this week this is going to be a SFP. And again, if you don't know what SFPs are, they're swing failure patterns. So they're saying that, you know, where these two candles right here open and close. So I'm going to mark that out, right? So this candle right here closed around 76.34. So I'm going to write that in. All right. So let's just say 76.34. All right. So where is price right now? 74.54. Right. We're almost $200 lower than this. We're already trading lower. So they're saying that by the end of this week, this candle will close above. Okay. I personally don't think that's likely, but even if it is, that's not really a good case for the bulls. I mean, you just consolidated here in this region right here for 3 weeks, and then you tapped it and you broke it again. I mean, you've basically taken out a lot of the orders right here. Why would you do that if you were in a bullish market? You wouldn't just tap into liquidity from this high, okay, from this high down, 40% to go back up. This, like I've said before, was a distribution right here and then redistribution, and now we're looking to push down some more. Okay, so I really don't think this is going to be an SFP. I'd be really surprised if it was. I guess I'll be waiting and seeing if it will be. We've also tapped, very close towards the 618 fib, which is a pretty, critical part of the golden ratio, which is between 618 and 65%. So that's also, possible area for us to bounce in. But again, in trending markets, when the trend shifts for Bitcoin does not come back to the 618 fib to bounce up again. It goes much, much deeper. Okay, I've shown this in my previous video, so I'll let you guys go watch that. But Bitcoin does not like 618 fibs when turning back around. What it does like is anywhere between the 78.6 fib and between 85%. 85% is somewhere around $4,800. Okay, so it could land anywhere between $5,400 and $4,800 for the final drop, to end the bear market, which is this cycle right here. Okay, so don't be surprised if prices do come back down here by the next week, month, or I don't know, end of year or something. Okay. So anyway, folks, just be wary of the bulls, the ultra bulls, and the ultra bears too. I mean, if people are saying that Bitcoin has to go to zero, I think that's as far-fetched as saying Bitcoin has to go to 20K by the end of the year. At least, I'm telling you honestly that just take it one step at a time. Okay. You already know that, we're in a downtrending market. We've been now pulling back from the highs, creating lower highs on the weekly, daily, every single time frame. We kind of tapped into some pretty critical support and demand areas, still not able to push back up. So at least by now, you got to admit to yourself that, okay, maybe this market is weaker than we thought. Maybe we need to go lower for some liquidity. And until, crypto Twitter stops posting analysis and stuff about bullish trends and how they're buying this 6,000 or the 7,500 area, because this is the last time they'll ever see prices below, 7,500 or 8,000. I mean, until those people go away, you're just not going to see the market turn around. Okay. Here's another thing. MACD, crap. Okay. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I'll turn it on over here, actually. Turn on this market right here. just want to show this real quick on the MACD right here. Okay, so here's the thing. I talked about this MACD flipping this bear cross, excuse me. Can't even talk right now. I talked about this MACD bear cross right around, the beginning of August. Like I said, there was many reasons why I flipped my bias over here. Okay, one, this was starting to turn around. Two, the MACD was also starting to flip right here where most people weren't paying attention. And more often than not in Bitcoin's history, when the MACD starts turning on the weekly, it's not just turning for like a couple weeks. It's starting a new, bearish cycle. Okay, and this is the cycle that's already started way back here that people refuse and still refuse to accept and acknowledge, right? So we probably still have more downside. You can see the histograms even starting to tick down more, okay? That the MACD signal line is now starting to separate itself, right? So, kind of like it did over here. We haven't even seen the bleed of the signal lines bleed lower, okay? So, it's really hard to say, why people are yet still so bullish, but all their signs are there why, you could be more bearish, okay? Let me check this out. What's going on over here? So, again, you can see price keeps bouncing off this key level. You can see that right there. Every time it bleeds below, pushes back up, right? Bleeds below, pushes back up, okay? So you can see this range that we've established right here between the 75.82 high of this wick and the low right there of 74.50. It's a very important range. And for the bears to kind of win that range out, they need to, sharply keep closing prices under the bottom of this area. Because once they start pressuring the bulls down here, the bulls are increasingly going to get exhausted because, you can only buy so much of the asset when it keeps just selling off and selling off, right? So the bulls will get exhausted. And then your last stand, if you still haven't gotten into a short, you can watch this area right here. This was really obviously the last line of defense, right, for the bulls. Okay, I'm going to show you guys actually something interesting. Okay, so here, I'm going to draw this horizontal line out. Okay, so I'll put it at the bottom of this wick. And I want you to see on the weekly chart exactly how far it stretches. So watch this, okay? I'll turn this off on the weekly. Here we go, okay? So on the weekly, look where that line stretches. Right over here. Wait, actually, hang on, let me go back to that. Sorry, I forgot actually where it was. See, 72.96 right there, okay? 72.96, all right, right there. So it basically tapped into the last, liquid area where the stops reside for the bulls, which is below the wicks of these two. Okay, so this is really a perfect stop for the bulls to defend because they know, I think, once prices start reaching beyond that, I mean, it's pretty much over, at least till down here, right? In terms of a weekly consolidation period. So you could see that, this is really going to be a very critical area for the bulls to defend. And if they don't defend it well, we know ultimately where the weekly consolidation lies, way down here in the 5,000 region. Okay. So anyway, I mean, you guys know exactly what to do, what to look out for. Again, folks, come join the Cryptosomniac community. We have some amazing, people in our community, a lot of information that we provide. The morning updates are honestly like maybe 5% of the information that I provide. Like I provide nightly updates and trade setups and short-term trades, spot buys that we can have. We have an education channel if you want to learn. We have a analyst in the stock market channel. We leverage trade shorts and longs. Just a really amazing community with awesome people from all over. And, I really like spending time with my community through the day. I answer a ton of questions. I always, provide updates through the day. I let people know exactly what I'm thinking, even when markets are really just, tanking or taking off. I'm usually there with you guys. Okay. So I don't just, say that, hey, do this, do that. I'm like right there with you, explaining why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that. You know, where I set up my stats, where I'm, you know, setting up my take profits, etc. Okay. All right, folks, that is it. Cryptosomniac.com. Come join. And yeah, talk to y'all soon. All right. Take care and good luck.